Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing wonderful. Now, with everything that has been going on in the world, I felt a little bit weird putting out a hair tutorial. So I thought now was the perfect time to sit down and finally share my top 10 tips and secrets to grow long, healthy hair. So let's jump into it. First tip is stop washing your hair. No, I'm just kidding, but you want to try to leave more time in between washing your hair. You want your hair's natural oils to nourish, strengthen your hair, and this will help it grow. I feel like right now is the perfect time to switch up your hair routine, especially if you're working from home. Now, I typically wash my hair every 2 to 3 days. Last week, I definitely pushed it a lot longer, but just remember, dry shampoo is your friend. Second tip is find the right shampoo. Now, I've used everything from drugstore to salon professional, and the one thing that you want to look for is a sulfate-free shampoo. Sulfates can be very drying on your hair and on your scalp. When I first made the switch, I noticed the biggest transformation in my scalp, and that's where healthy hair starts. So it's really important that your scalp is healthy. Now, higher end products, they can have higher quality ingredients, but when I first started growing out my hair, I was a college student, I didn't have a ton of money, and drugstore sulfate-free shampoos worked wonderful for me. Third tip is gently wash your hair. This is where a lot of damage can happen. Now, this might sound obvious, but I hear my friends talking about their routines sometimes, and I just can't believe them. So when it comes to shampoo, less is more. You really want to try to avoid buildup because we're trying to go as long as we can in between washing our hair. Okay, before I move on to this next bit, leave a comment. I really want to know, before I go ahead, how much shampoo you currently use. Be honest. Now, believe it or not, you only need about 2 dime size amounts, no matter how much hair you have, because you're only supposed to be washing your scalp. Now, when you're washing, you want to be very gentle. I know it feels so nice to scrub your head, but you just want to do little circles with your fingertips and kind of a gentle and soft back and forth motion. And the reason for this is if you are too rough, you're just going to create frizz, knots, and breakage. And no need to wash your strands. They will just clean as you rinse your hair, and if you shampoo them, you're just going to dry them out. Oh, and I also use a scalp massager. If you're not using one, I highly suggest you pick one up. They feel so good. It's probably my favorite part of washing my hair. They just help to dispense product, especially if it's something that needs to be applied directly to your scalp. And they also remove buildup, and they help to stimulate your scalp, which will help your hair grow. And overall, again, it just feels amazing. Fourth tip is use conditioner. I hope you're using conditioner, but you want to try to find one that fits your hair's specific needs. They really do make a difference, and I typically look for ones that are either volumizing or made for dry hair. Now, when applying it, I typically like to leave it in for a minimum of 3 minutes. So the first thing I do when I get in the shower is I start washing my hair just to speed up the process. Now, a good rule of thumb is try and apply your conditioner from your ears down. You want to avoid your scalp because this is just going to make it really oily, and then you'll have to wash your hair, then you'll dry out your scalp, and then it's going to get oily. So just let your scalp naturally condition your hair for you. Now, when it comes to water temperature, I'll be honest, I take the hottest possible shower that I can, but you want to try to rinse your hair with lukewarm water. Don't worry, you don't have to be taking ice showers to have long, healthy hair, but you do you. Fifth tip is ditch the towel. In 2020, we are moving to cotton t-shirts. They definitely make a difference. And yes, it's very weird at first. Towels are abrasive, they're rough and textured, they cause frizz and breakage, especially if you do that cute twist on top of your head. It can just pull on these small, delicate baby hairs around your face. Now, I'm sure you know, but your hair is the most fragile when it's warm and wet, so just use a cotton t-shirt to gently scrunch your hair when you're out of the shower, just to remove excess water. And if you still want to use a towel, I get it. The the whole t-shirt thing sounds strange, just promise me you're not going to take your towel and go like this at the top of your head or go like this on your ends, because all you're doing is causing breakage. Sixth tip is nurture your hair. Be kind to your hair. Give it the love that it needs, that it deserves. But hair care is essential after you wash your hair. Like, you've just rinsed out the shampoo, you rinsed out the conditioner, so it's important to give your hair a little bit more love. Now, we all have different hair, and I always think of it as like a skin type. We all have different skin types. So for me, my hair is a little bit flat, so I always look for a volumizing product. And my hair is quite dry, especially in the winter time, so I always look for a really hydrating leave-in conditioner. And I use a frizz serum around my face on these small, delicate hairs, and then I always lock everything in with a hair oil. Oh, and I do use a lot of hair tools, so I always make sure to use a heat protectant. If you're using hot tools, then don't forget your heat protectant. It does make a difference. Seventh tip is minimize breakage. So do not, or at least try not to, brush your hair when it's wet. And I believe that this is another tip that made the biggest difference in my hair. Now, I mentioned earlier that your hair is the most fragile when it's warm and when it's wet. So if you are brushing it or combing it, you're risking potentially breaking your hair, which will slow down your hair growth. So I try to avoid brushing my hair as much as I can, like almost as much as I avoid washing my hair, because I find that brushing my hair just causes so much breakage. Like, I can see the hair on my floor. It doesn't lie. So what I like to do is, if I have a really big knot, especially in the winter time, I tend to get a lot of knots like up here on my neck. What I'll do is I just go in with my fingers. It's a little tedious, takes a bit of time, but it makes a huge difference. And I'll just go in and gently pull apart my knots. Before, I would have a knot in my hair and I would just go at it with like a comb or a brush until it basically ripped out of my hair. You do that like once or twice a week and you're just going to have like really choppy hair that needs a trim, and it's just never going to grow. But if you are going to brush your hair when it's wet, I get it. It feels so nice to get all of your knots out. Just try to use a wide tooth comb or a brush with flexible bristles. Another tip to minimize breakage is try to use a scrunchie instead of a hair elastic when you can. Okay, see these like little layers at the top of my head? I don't get layers cut into my hair, but here they are. Where did they come from? They came from wearing a hair elastic to the gym. A lot of my hair just broke off on the top. I have some friends that this happened to too. So now when I work out, I use a scrunchie. It's a lot softer on your hair and it feels a lot better as well. Next, when it comes to sleeping, I have a few tips to help minimize breakage. Now, you don't want to leave your hair down when you sleep because it's just going to get knotted and frizzy, and then you'll have to brush out those knots and that can cause breakage. So what I like to do is twist my hair into a donut bun on the top of my head and just clip it into place with a claw clip. This keeps it up, keeps it knot free, and it also helps to hold my curls, which is awesome. Oh, and if you haven't already made this switch, consider switching to a silk pillowcase or a silk feeling pillowcase. This will help prevent frizz, breakage, knots, you know the deal. They're really great. The next tip is avoid hot tools. I feel like now is the perfect time to just embrace your natural hair and really learn how to work with it. Now, one summer I did commit to not using any hot tools. I just rocked heatless waves. I let my hair air dry. Now that I think of it, that was also the summer that I lived in an upstairs apartment with a window conditioner, so it was just too hot to blow dry my hair. But this is when I noticed the biggest transformation in my hair. Now, if you are still going to be using hot tools, I'm guilty, I still do, but I have some tips to help you minimize breakage. Okay, so I still blow dry my hair probably 90% of the time. It just makes my hair really smooth and shiny, but a quick tip would be allow your hair to air dry to about 80 or 90% before you go in with your blow dryer. Another tip would be to only blow dry the front of your hair. So all of this hair that's framing your face, and then allow the rest of your hair to air dry. That way the front will look a little more sleek and put together, and then the rest of your hair will have like a really nice natural volume to it. Another tip is a curling iron is typically less damaging than a hair straightener. I noticed a huge difference in the appearance of my hair when I stopped straightening it. I look back on old pictures where I thought my hair looked so bomb and it looks so bad. The ends are so broken and it looks so dry. So if you are going to style your hair, I would recommend using a hair curler instead. Next tip is hair maintenance is key. I don't know why some people don't think that I get my hair cut. I promise I do. I actually just got so much cut off. It was down to my waist, but it was getting stuck in everything and I just needed a change. So trims are so important to help your hair grow and to help it look healthy. Now, they won't make your hair grow faster, but trimming off your split ends will help prevent them from splitting up your hair and then eventually breaking off. So I've been there. I've went to the hairdressers to get a trim and then they just decide to cut a whole bunch off. So definitely communicate with your hairdresser that you only want a trim. If you take too much off, your hair is never going to grow. And it's definitely easier to do a little bit and then ask them for a little bit more, because if they cut off too much, you can't glue it back on. So when it comes to coloring your hair, it's obviously very damaging, but what you want to try to do is go as long as you can in between salon visits, even if that means wearing a hat for a week or two. But when I made the switch from getting my whole head bleached to getting highlights, my hair has just been so much healthier. And since my hair grows out a lot more natural, I actually love like this rooty look, but I'm now able to go longer in between salon visits. I used to go every 6 weeks and now I probably go every like 5 to 6 months. This also saved me so much money. My 10th tip is to nourish your hair from the inside and out. So I quickly want to touch on diet. Water is so essential. It's so good for you. Drink tons of water. Now, if you're someone who's bad at staying on top of their water intake, I've seen a lot of people with those water bottles with the different hours of the day to help you track how much water you're drinking and stay on top of it. So those are really fun and can be really helpful. Now, I am mostly plant-based. I do still eat fish, but ever since I made the switch to being more plant-based, I am a lot more mindful about the nutrients that my body is getting. I'm making sure that I'm getting all of my vitamins, enough protein, and I use MyFitnessPal app to help track my food just to make sure that I am getting all of my nutrients every single day. But I really quickly wanted to mention that because I always get questions about hair vitamins. I personally don't know a ton about them. I don't take any of them, but I would suggest to take a look at your overall diet. Make sure you're getting all of your nutrients before you consider supplements, and always speak to a professional before you do. Okay, now to nourish your hair from the outside. Never underestimate a good hair mask. They can make such a difference in your hair. I feel like now's the time, especially if you're working from home, just put a hair mask in. You could slick your hair into like a low bun. It would look super chic. Nobody would know that you were rocking a hair mask. Now, I try my best to hair mask at least once or twice a week, usually the night before I'm going to be washing my hair, but I often forget. So I find it super helpful to pull out your hair mask, you can pull out your face masks and just put them somewhere that you're going to see them, so that you do not forget. And another thing is, don't look at hair masks as a chore. Look at it as a way to pamper yourself. Get your partner to do it with you. It's a lot of fun. It should be relaxing, and you deserve to pamper yourself. But I'll link some of my favorite hair masks down below, along with all of my favorite products, from like hair oils, leave-in conditioners to hair brushes. You already know, it'll all be linked in the description below. But I really hope you found this video helpful. I would love if you left your hair tips down below, especially if you have a different hair type. I know a lot of you have curly hair, there's oily hair, short hair. Leave your comments down below. I'm sure it'd be super helpful, and I would love to learn some new tips. I hope you are all doing well during this difficult time. I know it can be tough. Just remember, we are all in this together. I'm going to leave a comment down below kind of expressing how I feel about content going forward. So I would love if you could check that out and just let me know how you feel. But thank you as always so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.